It's been months of silence, but finally AGS is giving us news not only on Season 8, but what's coming after Season 8 as well. They gave us a little bit of a sneak peek. If you watch the whole dev video I did, they talk about it at the end of the video. So for me today, what I'm going to talk about is everything that's coming with Season 8 that they have announced, as well as that extra stuff at the end of the video. So let's start off with the first big one, and that is the new seasonal world. This is going to be a hardcore seasonal world where you are basically trying to complete the game without dying, but there are a lot of changes they've made for this seasonal world versus the last one that we had. The first big one is that we're not going to see the seasonal world right away. Instead, they're going to introduce the seasonal world a little bit into Season 8 so that people can enjoy the new OPR map, as they said. On these servers, they said that when you die, you don't actually lose your tune, though. Instead, you lose your hardcore status, but you'll gain a whole bunch of additional stats. And for each death that you take, you'll gain even more stats, up to over 100 in each attribute. I thought this was really interesting. They also mentioned that the seasonal world is going to be very fast to progress through. So the quote was 4 to 6 hours or so for you to get to end game and start trying to complete some of those end game challenges on your character that hasn't died yet. And the rewards that you get from this seasonal world, they're going to be something that you can get and claim on your main character. It's not something that's tied to your seasonal character, and the characters on these worlds are going to be limited time as well. Once the seasonal world is gone, that character will no longer exist. I think that AGS definitely learned a lesson from the last seasonal world, and I think they're taking a better approach to the new seasonal world here. Now, the hardcore mode is not something that I personally am super into, but they did mention that the rewards are going to be coming from lots of the end game PvE content, like completing the various different raids or completing the mutated dungeons. And a sneak peek at those rewards, they said that they would give you items that allow you to craft any artifact from Season 7 or before. They specifically mentioned Serenity here because that's one that a lot of people want, but they don't want to go and do PvP to get, and things like Tier 3 trophies. Of course, we got that new Outpost Rush map, the Coral Divide. You guys have seen lots of it. You've seen footage from me of it. It'll be finally coming out in Season 8, so I'm really happy about that. There are also going to be some new preview events. They said they're introducing a 10v10 Capture the Flag game mode with 2 different maps. So we'll have 2 different previews, one for each map. And in these game modes, of course, it's Capture the Flag. They added mechanics like jump pads, which launch you in the air, power-ups to your health, haste, and attack buffs. And you guys can see in the footage here a little bit of a preview of what the map looks like. There also is a new arena map that they talked about, and we'll get to have a preview for that one as well. Unfortunately, these are just previews, so this is not going to be something that is coming in Season 8. It'll be something we'll probably see closer to Season 9 or even after that. And finally, the last preview we're going to get is a bare bones OPR. It is a version of Outpost Rush where you have no gear perks. All of your gear is scaled to the same gear score, so everybody in PvP is on equal footing and playing basically just their base builds. This will be interesting. I know that there are some people that don't have good PvP gear and they want to jump into PvP, so this is an easy way for people like that to give PvP a shot without having to invest a ton of time or money into those PvP sets. And we've also got world bosses coming in Season 8, so they're going to be a temporary thing that is not up all the time. It'll rotate between the various different bosses that are available. And there are 3 world bosses that they have confirmed so far. We've got the Mammoth world boss, the Scarab boss Kepri, and the Fire Naga Ifrit boss. And these are all bosses from previous expeditions that you have probably fought before, but they are scaled up and made much more difficult for a much larger group of players. These bosses are going to drop higher level loot from 710 to 725 gear score, and on top of it, you get a guaranteed 725 item when you complete each event. So this is going to be interesting because it's taking a lot of the previous gear from these dungeons that you can't access or upgrade to 725 and giving you opportunities to get 725 versions of them. So for Buildcraft, I absolutely love this, just giving us more options and more viable weapons. That's the big thing, because a 725 weapon is really the only big deal when it comes to 700 versus 725 items. They are also adding a barbershop, so if you hate your hairdo or you just want to try a new one, you can now do that, and it looks like you can even change the sex of your character at the barbershop. Now, we've got 7 new artifacts coming with the new season as well. The Old Crown Head plus 10 to all attributes comes with a bonus gem functionality. That's interesting. I'm curious what that means. We've got Relentless, the Tower Shield, Team Armor Aura, and enhances healing. So a good support shield. We've got Vampire Vestments, a light chest that lifesteal with lifesteal and mana synergy. We've got Wit, a sword which increases threat and damage mitigation on crits. And then Chaos, a blunderbuss. This one they actually talked a little bit about what it does. Launches enemies with fiery blast shots. Now, in the video that I watched where they're talking about this weapon, they mentioned that each shot will knock your opponent back, not just blast shot. So we'll see what that looks like when it actually comes into the game, but that is a huge functionality change for blunderbuss in general. Then they've got the Runic Greaves Heavy Feet, speed boosting after using a heart rune. And then finally, the Lich Gloves, which are light hands and they empower stack with ability usage. So yeah, that's exciting. A few of these, of course, we'll get from the new season's pass, and then the other ones will drop from various different places in the game. And as for big combat changes coming this patch, we've got PvP camps. So if you're flagged up and you place a camp, your camp will now be able to be destroyed by other faction members. So this adds a different dynamic, especially during influence races and even open world PvP. They've got a ready up system to start PvP matches faster when enough players opt in. This means you're just skipping that minute-and-a-half phase when you first load into Outpost Rush or whatever in the waiting room. And this is going to be applied to Outpost Rush and arenas. So hopefully this makes queuing up. I mean, queuing up's going to be basically the same, but you won't have to wait as much in the lobby before the game starts, I guess. Spectator Cam. This is going to be for arenas and expeditions, and it allows you to watch the battle after death. So you can swap between the players that are still alive and see their points of views. So it's kind of nice, but this won't be an Outpost Rush, which I think is a good idea because that would be super unbalanced. Now, they didn't talk about these, but they put it in these patch notes. We've got Survival Potions, 5 new ones coming. We've got the Burst Regen Potion, a small burst of healing followed by passive regen, combination of health and regen pot, basically. We've got the Health Shot Potion, similar to a health potion, but provides less healing and can be used more often. There's a Shield Potion, which grants damage reduction for 3 hits taken or until the timer runs out. And then a Grit Potion, which gives uninterruptible effect for the duration. This one is going to be crazy good in PvP. We're going to see how long this actually lasts, but that is a meta game changer. And then there's the Lifesteal Potion, increase the power of all lifesteal effects for the duration. The only real thing I have to add here is, why no Cleanse Potion? We get the Cleanse Potion in Outpost Rush, and it is such a good counter to all of the damage over time bullshit that we see. So I'm sad that it's not actually being added as a potion to the base game, and instead will just remain a special potion for the PvP game modes. And finally, there are target lock changes, basically target lock nerfs. They're making it harder for you to use the combination of target lock and aim assist to give you incredibly good aim, which I really like. It's not going to track players as well as it used to. In the video, they specifically talked about how combat is very skill-based in New World and how aim assist really gutted that. So yeah, guys, they heard us. They heard the player base. We didn't like aim assist. We didn't like how it impacted the game. And Amazon is going to make those changes. So hopefully aim assist and target lock are not going to be as big problems as they are now. One of the big things that they talked about is that if you move behind the opponent, it will now break the target lock instead of them just pivoting and staying on you with that target lock. So they're adding a little bit more counterplay to it, at least for the melee target lock. That is a really good piece of counterplay. Oh, and aiming down sights will also break your target lock as well. And then let's talk about what they were speaking of on the in development phase. Now, they mentioned a few different things and they gave us quite a few hints here, which are pretty exciting. The first big one is the new weapon. They gave us the hint of both hands. So this is going to be dual wield or something. Maybe it'll be fisticuffs, maybe it'll be dual pistols, but both hands means you're going to be using both hands for this weapon. I'm excited that they even mentioned a weapon, man. It's been a long time since we've got a new weapon in this game, so hell yeah, I'm here for dual pistol, pistol dagger, dagger dagger. I don't give a shit. Let's see that new weapon. I'm excited for it. This won't be in Season 8. This is again in development, so maybe Season 9, maybe this October. And then the next one, which is kind of exciting for me, and I don't even do a lot of dungeons, procedural expeditions with extractions. And they used the quote, infinite expeditions. I know exactly what this is. If you've ever played Dungeoneering in RuneScape, this is just a procedurally generated dungeon that you'll go through, complete, fight the boss, and then get out. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know what the mechanics are going to look like, but what I do know is that procedurally generated means they're going to be different every time. So for people who are out there and they are so tired of running the same dungeons all the time, this is going to be really exciting. They said there's a new game mode coming called Seeking the Crown. Could be interesting. We don't really know what it's going to be, but that was the quote they gave us, Seeking the Crown. I'll let you guys make up your minds on that one. And then they are working on a new zone. It's a new area with new enemies, new quests, everything. It is not a remake of a old area. So hopefully we get this during the October release. Like I got my fingers crossed that this October release is going to be a nice new zone with a new weapon and all of that shit that we really want to see in the game. We've been asking for a while now, and we didn't get to see with this past going to console kind of thing we had in the past year, and they spent a lot of time working on that. They also talked about saving your attributes into gear sets, which I thought was really nice. They also talked about set bonuses, where you put on a certain amount of pieces of a set and you get additional bonuses for it. So that's cool, just more layers to build craft. I am all here for that. And then last but not least, they talked about global storage, which everybody will benefit from. So again, those are all things that are in development. They haven't been confirmed with a release date or anything like that, but it is something they're working on. So hopefully it's something we get to see in the game within the next half a year or so. And that's all the news they had. I'm pretty excited, honestly. I've been very not excited lately because they haven't said anything for a long time. So it's nice to get some news. Hopefully season 8 is going to be fun. We'll see how this stuff plays out. I'm even more excited for what we could possibly be getting in season 9. They mentioned a lot of really cool stuff. So yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.